Skava Prosimo, Lyudmyla. Thank you so much for joining our podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Your Ukrainian sounds wonderful.
I learned from the best. I always think it's nice, starting on a personal note, sharing. We are, after all, a global platform, right? And last year we spoke with, over 40 people, I think from like over 30, 40 countries. It's nuts, so it's kind of cool, like having that personal element. And like I said, I learned from the best, which is you.
Thank you. It works. Thank you very much to take your work to learn Ukrainian.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive right into the questions, and we have a very interesting, topic on today. And obviously, you have a very interesting career. You started as a football agent very early, and I think I just got to ask right away, how did this opportunity come up for you? How did you grab that opportunity, essentially?
Well, first of all, thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure. I think the opportunity is, as I said, the door is not open. You have to open it yourself. You have to push it because nothing is open. I was studying international relations and working as a normal job in foreign trade, and I was always thinking in one idea to combine my three passions: international relations, football, and travel.
Sure.
And it sounded impossible, but as I always say, I was very challenged by the word impossible. Nothing is impossible. So I started to try to have an idea how it's possible to connect everything, and I found an opportunity and applied for the internship in the biggest football transfers agency in Argentina and South America, Dodici.
Nice.
So that moment, the agency represents players like Javier Pastore, Banega, did transfer with Falcao, James Rodriguez, Ricky Alvarez, and many others. So it was
pretty big names.
Big names, yes. It was very exciting. So I took a risk. So I left my comfort zone and I take a two months internship and started to work in international department of the agency. I did pretty well my work. I generate some business opportunity around players, and I received the offer to a long-term contract to work in the player transfer area of the agency, in charge of the relations between the clubs and players in Europe, Asia, and Latin America as well. So where is my journey beginning? So it was amazing. It was like 4 years working, traveling each 6 months. To all the countries, meeting up with all the sport directors and scouts with different clubs, attending more than 400 or 500 matches around the world. So it was like a little movie from 23 years old. It was an amazing experience. I was working with one of the best football agent in the world, and learned too much. It was amazing experience.
I can imagine. I mean, it sounds like a childhood dream. Just going around watching football games.
Football game, and you receive the salary.
Right. I mean, that's plus too. Can't complain about that. But obviously, as you know, the football agent, the consultancy industry in football is very male dominated in general. So what were some of the challenges that you were did you face any challenges with that? And how did you sort of overcome those sort of barriers early on? Because obviously it's, you're early in this career and kind of trying to break yourself in. Was this something you were facing?
Yes, of course. You have to. Luckily, it's changing a lot, and I'm very happy to see that a lot of women in the sports business. And
absolutely,
but it's good to see that. But 10 years ago, it was different. The situation, it was not easy. of
Right.
course, a lot of challenge, and it's not easy to receive the advice for buying a new striker for your team from a woman, even if you are offering top players.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not what you are offering. It's sometimes because it's like cultural, I think, topics is changed for luckily, but 10 years ago it was different the situation. And
Right.
in some countries, the cultural aspects play big role, which is the role of the women. But I think it depends of each one. I didn't care about that. When I had to negotiate, I always start to negotiate with my head up and negotiating with everyone. And if everyone had a problem to negotiate with a woman, is the negotiation finished there. So it's like you have to win your place with with your work, I think.
Right.
So
no, but I think it's I'm just wanted to bring it up because I think it's very important, sort of like the journey that you've been through and showcasing as well. Like, of course, as you said, like a lot of things have changed, in the last 10 years, which is great. And like, there's still, a lot to improve in this, and this is why it's important for you to, like, I thought it was important to share this story because you're just, okay, if you put your mind to it, if you work hard, if you showcase the value, it will pay off, like it's possible to achieve things, and I think it's important to share that side of the story. And of course, it's not going to be easy, but there are people around in the industry as well that are willing to help, and that focus on, okay, what is the value that you can bring? It doesn't matter what is your gender or ethnicity or what it might be. It's about value, right? And like how to provide that value. So I thought it was important to just sort of like bring that up as a challenge, and like how you overcome it. Moving on a little bit too, though, because obviously you had been a commercial director at UDLFC, football consultant, hospitality coordinator, the World Cup 2018, and now ambassador and central part of the communication with sports properties from over 50 countries with the Paris World Games. So it's been a long journey. I mean, like, there's other stuff that's as well that you have been doing since then. And what has been some of the most memorable like moments from this journey? Like, what stands out as some of your career highlights so far? Because you've been a part of a lot.
Yes, I think each experience and job fulfilled like an important role for me because I wanted to have like a total vision of the sport industry and to have experience as much as possible in international environment and in different sports properties. Before my 30 years old, I wanted to spend time working with the best, to learn a lot and try to get like more international and multicultural experience as is possible. For that, I was moving too much. I was living in 7 countries and working a lot, but in that way, to have like a complete vision and start to work and still working, but connecting that business synergy in sports industry and with a total vision.
Right.
I would like to share maybe the experience that I enjoyed most of them because. For example, en UDL, Unión de Hotelería de Portugal, as commercial director, I had the experience to work like how to manage the club in 24 hours per day, to feel how you are connecting with the fans, with the history of the city, with everything, with the challenge to win the cup, to win the tournament, to do everything. You abstracted from everything. You are living like day by day what is the important for the club. More in that club that it was the first club of Mourinho. So this club had a lot of history and a lot of passion involved. It was a very, very amazing experience. And in World Cup, of course, in Russia, I had the honor to share my job with the Argentinian national team, or the winner of the World Cup of '86. All the team. I was in charge of the managing all the experienced Argentinian team there, and share the time with them, listening the histories about the World Cup and everything. I didn't have the honor to see to Diego in that time, but even I hear a lot of interesting stories, so it was amazing as well. To spend time with them.
Fly on the wall there.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. And in Paris World Games, it's very nice to be involved in the dreams of the kids, because we're working with clubs and federations with more from 80 countries, from different culture, different histories, and different kinds of dreams. So it's very inspiring to share this experience with kids from different situations.
Right. But let's talk a little bit about the Paris World Games and some of the key responsibilities you're having now with them, and how has sort of like the Corona situation or the pandemic impacted your role there, or like what the work that you're doing essentially, because I think that would be interesting to tap into.
Yes, sure. In Paris World Games, I'm in charge in one line. I'm in charge of the diplomatic relations with embassies and Ministry of Sports.
Sure.
From more like 50 countries.
Wow.
And 55 as a little 55 years. And in the other line, I'm in charge of the developing of the business, the commercial aspects of the Paris World Game with the sport properties, federation and clubs, as well in 55 countries.
Right.
So usually I spend a lot of time traveling, of course, but right now it's virtual
travel. You're not traveling right now?
Yeah, it sounds like the past, very long past of the history.
Yeah, it's like when did people travel last time? You know, it like feels like forever.
Yes. It's like virtual trip right now.
Yeah.
It works anyway. Yeah. Of course, everything is paused. Everything is stopped till the next year, because our organization, our event is like very huge event, so we stopped it to the next year. But we are organizing our strategy to work locally in different regions and start to divide a little bit our project in a smaller one in order to still moving forward, and while we are waiting for the next year for the big event.
Right.
So anyway, we are still working, still moving. Of course, I am working as well a consultant in some project with different agency and esports. Nice. And different and different like sport events and national projects, and like in Mongolia and Saudi Arabia.
Nice.
So work is going on anyway. We adaptate. We are not traveling, of course. It's not possible, but maybe in the past it was something impossible to think that you will close an agreement by video.
Right.
You had to travel 12 hours to spend 5 hours drinking
Right.
coffee and talking about the
Hello.
family and everything.
Yeah.
And right now you can close agreement doing video meetings because everything
Yeah.
is changed
I mean,
and you have to adapt.
to be fair, I think it's for the best, in a sense where, I mean, like, imagine how much money like the organizations are saving on like so less travels, now. And I think people don't realize that because it's always been, I mean, like, of course, looking at the numbers, like after this year, people will realize after 2020, they realize, okay, we saved a lot of money on the travel side, and I think it's like always been like this tradition, right? And you've been in the industry for a long time, where of course, like, of course, there's something unique about going somewhere, like meeting people face to face, and like, you're not gonna neglect that. But I think people then now realizes, there's a lot of extra steps that you don't necessarily have to be there, and it's sort of like been like a tradition where, no, but if you have a meeting, you should be coming here, or I should be going there, or like what it might be, you have to be physically, there. And to be fair, like, how much time and money people and organizations are going to save on this moving forward is actually going to be very crucial. So I think it's going to change a little bit how we do business moving forward. But for me personally, I don't mind. I think it's totally fine. And I like traveling too. I've been traveling a lot the last few years as well with the business. But I think there's certain things, it takes a lot of energy. You know us more than anyone else how much energy at times it takes traveling to different countries and all this stuff, and learning stuff, like meeting new people. All this takes a lot of energy, so saving that
Yes, of
energy,
course.
utilizing that on other tasks that you have to do. I mean, like, it's optimizing, right? Efficiency, and getting
Yes.
more done.
Of course, the human aspects of the business is very important. Even in some cultures, it's very important
For
to
sure.
meet up, to see
Yeah,
the eyes to the person who is negotiating.
absolutely.
But it will be, I think, as you mentioned, it will be planned more strategically. This is a strategy to do something specific trip, not like massive trips to
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah. No, for
It
sure.
will be fine.
And like, you like working, like, if you talk about like sort of like the Paris games here, and like all the different countries, like 55 that you were talking about, and what are some of the challenges you're facing working with them? And I guess like there are like some, maybe some cultural challenges, some other challenges, being from all these different countries, with their own sort of set of challenges that they are facing going into the games.
Yes, of course, there are a lot because if you start if you start from the breakfast, that is different in all the country, and the way how they negotiate or to do training, or
Right.
everything is completely different between maybe I know Madagascar, Argentina, India, United States, France. They are completely different aspects.
Right.
But what is the most beautiful thing that sports has the power to unify everything. During 90 minutes, everyone are playing in the same way. They are not
Yeah, yeah.
different. So it's
Right.
amazing to see kids playing, talking in the same like universal language in sports.
Yeah.
So there are no differences there. Then they had each one has his cultural aspects in the way how they train, the way how they wear, the way how they talk and eat. But
Right.
on the pitch, everyone they are the same. So it's I think the beautiful power of the sports and the good message for the kids.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, sports is unifying, right? It's like a common language. We're all fighting or competing for the same thing, and just having great moments together. But let's talk a little bit about like some of the personal stuff that you've been working on too. Because first of all, congrats on like some of the certifications you have. gotten now recently as well from like IOC and FIFA, and I'm kind of like curious about those certification. Like, what type of certification did you pursue, and the most recent one, like, did they bring up like the pandemic, like, or were you kind of like too early to kind of like start like talking about that, just to also because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, sure. That certification is like general updating for all the professional in the
Sure.
industry.
Yep.
Very useful, very
Yep.
recommended, and very useful because, as I say all the time, as I try to still moving, still learning, because everything is changed, and this is the last year that it was the best example of that. This kind of courses and certifications not talking about the pandemic or the new era, the new time, but it's new normal. Yes. But it's more like updating of all the professionals in sports marketing and sports media, and the FIFA certification is about integrity, that doing some courses regarding all the betting activities around the sports industry, so it's quite useful.
Yep. Yeah.
And as well, during this time, I approach this time to do some certification in esports, that I think is very, very important. It's where the new generation is going there. Already they are there.
They are there, I think, already.
And all the brands and all the sports properties are changing their strategy to esports, and the brands want to be there because the new generation is there. And there are a lot of virtual events, esports events, that are very useful for this time, because you can't activate something physical, but you have a lot of options virtually, so it's good tool for these times.
Absolutely.
All the esports platforms.
And I mean, like, it's one thing that I think is very important here, as you mentioned too, is like, oh, I'm always trying to learn, always trying to like grab new knowledge. The industry is always moving forward. Like, I always try to update myself. And I mean, like, and that really leads into like our last question, which is sort of like about, what tips you have for students, young professionals trying to find their career in the sport industry, might want to go like maybe like agent route, consultancy down the road, maybe even like working with some major events. And what kind of tips do you have for those people, and what should be, from your point of view, like what should be some of their key focus areas in the next 4, 5, 6 months ahead?
First of all, in the beginning, I think the most important key is to define what it sounds like very obviously, but it's very important. Define which is your passion. What would you like to do? What do you imagine yourself in 5 years? And create the vision of that kind of vision. Create the picture. What you imagine. What are you doing in 5 years? And start to work on that. My first advice is to try to get as much experience as possible with working with the best, with someone who is doing what you would like to do, and try to learn from the best, and start to build your own way, of course, not copy, and start to get as much experience as possible in different aspects. It helps a lot to open a little bit the vision of the global strategy and the industry, and of course always try to moving, because when you're moving you will find opportunities. As I said before, for me the opens are no open. You have to open it yourself. No one will go to your home to say you, okay, you came with me.
Wait, what? They don't go home and open the door for you? I didn't expect that. No, we
Yes,
uh,
yes, and for that maybe it's all the networking seminars, everything. This kind of stuff helps a lot because you are opening your networking, you are connecting with other professionals, and you can find other opportunities and other advice. Or my, my advice, of course, to take care of the reputation. That is something very, very precious, and the world looks very big, but in the professional world is very small, and
especially in sports.
especially in sports, very important your name, and take care of your name, of course, and
Yeah,
try to help to other, because like in life, in the jobs, in the professional life as well, everything returns. So only that, and stay ambitions, and stay humble, of course, in kind with the other that
yeah,
are doing his own way
right.
for work,
Well,
and
there's
always try to still learning something, because it's changing all the time, everything. And who has like the vision from the change it will have the advantage for the new step.
no, for sure, and it also brings back. I think I want to highlight one more thing, because obviously you mentioned a lot of great things. There's a lot of like foundation to lay down there. But there's just something that you brought up when you started. It's like, oh, I went out of my comfort zone. Be essentially be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like that was like a quote we had from like my master program as well at USF, and it's like, this is one thing you should always have in the back of your head, like be comfortable being uncomfortable, because like going out of your comfort zone, pursuing wherever it is, maybe it looks impossible or super hard, but you never know, and you never know who you're going to meet on that journey too. So, and I think it fits really well with sort of like how your journey, like all the stuff that you've been involved with, and how our paths crossed. And with that, now you're here sharing your story with all our amazing audience in the Sporting Global platform, and for those that are seeking a sports career. So we really, really appreciate that. And with that, Lyudmyla, I think we're about to wrap up. It's been a fun conversation. It's gone fast. So I don't know if you have any final comments.
No, only that. Thanks for the invitation. Of course, it's as you say, it must be involved with hard work and perseverance. It's very, very important for all that, all the plans that someone can have, and it's comfortable, and uncomfortable is like a big choice and big decision. If you can get like normal job, like a comfortable lifestyle, or you can take a risk and
Right.
try to work for your dreams, and for your job that you want. So it's like a big decision, and it always risk is involved in a big decision. So
Absolutely. So with that, Lyudmyla, I would like to thank you so much for taking the time. And with every podcast we're doing, we're always finishing up with "Vi snakkes," which means "see you later" in Norwegian. So now you know some Norwegian as well.
Vi snakkes. Okay.
There
Thank you
go.
very much for the invitation, and good luck with your project. It's very, very interesting.
Absolutely.
Sweet. How you say?
Vi snakkes.
Vi snakkes.
Yes, there you go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.